About war and peace, both are sensitive subjects in Vladimir Putin's Russia, especially nowadays. If you're not careful, you could land in jail or worse. Why do I say this? Because of a high-profile death reported this week. Ravil Maganov was the chairman of Russian company Lukoil. It is one of the biggest oil firms in the country. On Thursday, Russian media reported his death. First, they said he fell out of the window of a hospital in Moscow. Then they called it a suicide. Sounds fishy, doesn't it? Oil barons don't suddenly fall out of a window. And the story gets murkier. Take a look at this headline. It is from March 2022. Back then, Lukoil called for an end to the war in Ukraine. Let me read out that statement. It says, "We stand for the immediate cessation of the armed conflict and fully support its resolution through the negotiation process and through diplomatic means." So Lukoil was against the war, Russia's war in Ukraine. They wanted a diplomatic solution to the crisis in Ukraine. Did that have something to do with their chairman's death? In Russia, anything is possible. Lukoil's official statement does not mention any foul play. It says Maganov passed away following a serious illness, but you cannot dismiss the circumstances. Maganov is the 8th Russian oil baron to die this year. I've got the full list with me. First was Leonid Shulman. He was a top executive at Gazprom. He was found dead at his cottage in late January. Cause of death still unknown. Alexander Tulakov. He was the second. He too worked at Gazprom. He died on the 25th of February. Russian media reports talked about a note found near his body. 3 days later, another gas executive died. Mikhail Watford. He was found hanging at his estate in England. Investigators said the death was quote-unquote unexplained. On the 18th of April, there was another case. A former vice president from Gazprom Bank was found dead in Moscow. His wife and daughter were also dead. Authorities believed it was a case of murder-suicide. Case number 5. A former executive at Novatek was found dead at a vacation home in Spain. Novatek is the biggest producer of LNG in Russia. Case number 6. Lukoil executive Alexander Sabutin was found dead in a basement, his basement. Russian media said he was into voodoo rituals. Case number 7. Yuri Voronov. He was a shipping contractor who handled Gazprom's Arctic projects. He was found dead in a swimming pool. Cause of death, gunshot. You see what I mean? 8 strange deaths in less than 9 months. All top bosses at Russian oil and gas companies. What are the chances of that happening? Naturally, there is speculation. Were these oil barons opposed to Putin's war in Ukraine? And if so, did that lead to their untimely deaths? Putin's track record does not inspire confidence. He has a history of taking out dissidents and rivals like Alexander Litvinenko. He was a former agent of the KGB. He died after drinking tea laced with polonium in London. Then there is Boris Nemtsov. He was a former deputy prime minister of Russia. He went on to become a major Putin critic. In 2015, in fact, he was shot dead outside the Kremlin. The full list is much longer, but you get the idea what Putin is capable of. The bigger question is, why would gas barons be on his radar? After the war, energy profits have shot up. Gazprom reported nearly $41 billion in profits. So why would oil barons and gas barons rebel? Perhaps because of the sanctions. Russian billionaires owned multiple assets in Europe, including yachts, vacation homes and estates. Most of them have been seized by the European Union. They've also been stopped from traveling to the bloc. So no more shopping in Milan, no vacations in Monaco, and no more wine tastings in France. And don't mistake this for righteousness. The oligarchs never had a problem with Putin's countless crackdowns or his subversion of democracy. They only had a problem when their lifestyle was affected. It tells you how ruthless the Russian nexus is and how tightly Vladimir Putin controls it. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.